Welcome to AppleKnows, where I, Apple, guide you into the corners of history that museums whisper about but rarely explain. What you are about to hear isn't science fiction, it isn't fantasy, it's a collection of real discoveries that archaeologists have documented, photographed, and puzzled over, and yet many of them still don't have answers. Some of these facts sound almost impossible, and that's exactly why they fascinate us. Let's begin with the Antikythera Mechanism, often called the world's first computer. Pulled from a Roman shipwreck off a Greek island more than a century ago, this corroded piece of bronze turned out to be a complex system of gears built over 2,000 years ago. It could predict eclipses, track planetary positions, and even map out the cycles of the Olympic Games. Nothing like it appeared again for at least 1,000 years, which raises the question, how did ancient craftsmen possess such advanced engineering skills, and why did that knowledge vanish for centuries? Then there's the Baghdad Battery, a set of clay jars discovered in Iraq, estimated to be around 2,000 years old. Each jar contained a copper cylinder and an iron rod, and when filled with acidic liquid like vinegar, they could generate electricity. Some scholars argue they may have been used for electroplating metals with gold or silver. But here's the unsettling part, the concept of electricity wasn't formally studied until the 18th century. Were these just accidental designs, or evidence of knowledge we rarely associate with ancient civilizations? Traveling further east, we find the perfectly cut granite blocks at Pumapunku in Bolivia. These massive stones, some weighing over 100 tons, are carved with astonishing precision, featuring interlocking designs that resemble machine work. The cuts are so sharp and smooth that even modern diamond-tipped tools would struggle to replicate them. How were they moved and shaped over 1,000 years ago by people who had no written language and no known wheel technology? Archaeologists debate, but no definitive answer exists. Another discovery that makes experts pause is the mysterious crystal skulls. At least a dozen have surfaced over the last century, most famously in Central America. These skulls are carved from single blocks of quartz crystal, a material so hard that even modern tools find it difficult to shape without leaving marks. Yet some of these skulls appear polished and flawless, with no visible tool traces. Theories range from ceremonial objects to elaborate forgeries, but the reality is that their origins remain a mystery, and the craftsmanship defies explanation. In China, strange artifacts known as the Dropa stones were found in the 1930s in a remote cave. They're circular stone discs with a hole in the center, much like vinyl records, and some are etched with tiny grooves spiraling from the center outward. Researchers claimed the grooves contained microscopic hieroglyphic-like writing that told of an ancient people who descended from the skies. Many mainstream scholars doubt this interpretation, but the stones themselves remain unusual and largely unexplained, adding to the aura of mystery. Even more baffling are the giant stone spheres of Costa Rica. Dozens of these perfectly round spheres, some as large as 2 meters in diameter, were discovered buried in the jungle. Their smoothness and symmetry suggest deliberate shaping, yet no one knows exactly why they were made or how they were transported. Were they symbols of power, celestial models, or simply artistic experiments? The truth is still buried with the stones. And then there's Göbekli Tepe in Turkey, the site that has rewritten human history. This massive stone temple complex dates back nearly 12,000 years, predating Stonehenge by at least 6,000 years. Its towering pillars are carved with animals and abstract symbols, hinting at a sophisticated belief system far earlier than scholars once thought possible. The fact that hunter-gatherers, who were assumed to be primitive and nomadic, organized the construction of such a monument challenges everything we thought we knew about the dawn of civilization. One of the strangest finds comes from the mines of South Africa, where metallic spheres with grooved lines around their circumference have been discovered in rock layers that are estimated to be more than 2 billion years old. These so-called Klerksdorp spheres are small, perfectly balanced, and some appear manufactured, yet they were found in deposits that predate the existence of humans by an unimaginable scale. Scientists debate whether they are natural formations or artifacts that should not exist at all, but their very presence sparks questions about our understanding of history. Then we turn to the famous Nazca lines in Peru. Stretching across the desert floor, these massive geoglyphs depict animals, plants, and geometric shapes that can only be fully appreciated from the air. The lines are so large that they remained unnoticed until the 20th century, when planes flew overhead. Why would an ancient culture, with no ability to fly, create artworks that were invisible from the ground? Were they ritualistic pathways, astronomical calendars, or messages meant for something above? The mystery continues to stir debate among archaeologists. Another puzzle lies beneath the waves off the coast of Yonaguni, Japan. Divers in the 1980s stumbled upon a massive underwater structure resembling a stepped pyramid, with terraces, sharp angles, and straight lines. Some argue it is a natural rock formation shaped by geological forces, while others are convinced it is the ruins of an ancient city submerged after the last ice age. If it is man-made, it would push the timeline of advanced architecture thousands of years earlier than previously believed. Not far from the sands of Egypt, another curiosity emerges, the so-called Saqqara bird. This small wooden artifact, discovered in a tomb, resembles a bird but with features eerily similar to a modern glider. Its wings are aerodynamically shaped, and some researchers have speculated it might have been a model used to study flight. Was it a toy, a ritual object, or a piece of forgotten knowledge about early attempts at aviation? In India, a temple in Ellora known as the Kailasa Temple presents another enigma. Carved directly into a massive rock face, it is a monolithic structure, meaning the builders removed over 200,000 tons of rock to create it. The precision, scale, and artistry of this temple, completed more than 1,000 years ago, are staggering. To this day, historians cannot fully explain how such a vast construction was accomplished with the tools available at that time, or how long it might have taken. And finally, let's step into Siberia, where researchers have found massive megalithic stones in the remote region of Gornaya Shoria. These blocks, some estimated to weigh over 3,000 tons, appear stacked and cut with geometric precision. If they are indeed human-made, they are far larger than any stones used in the Egyptian pyramids, raising the question of who could have moved them and why. Let's begin with the London hammer, discovered in Texas in the 1930s. A simple hammer embedded in rock that some geologists estimate to be more than 100 million years old. The wooden handle has partially turned to coal, and the metal head is unusually pure iron with a composition that doesn't match known smelting techniques of the time it supposedly belongs to. Was this hammer dropped by early settlers into a softer formation that later hardened, or is it evidence of technology existing in an age we cannot even place on human history? Then there are the Ica stones of Peru, smooth andesitic stones carved with images that defy belief. Some show advanced surgical procedures, others depict humans interacting with extinct animals like dinosaurs. Discovered in large quantities, they sparked heated debates. Many consider them elaborate hoaxes, yet a fraction have been found in contexts suggesting genuine antiquity. If authentic, they would completely rewrite our understanding of ancient knowledge and the interaction of humans with creatures we thought long gone. Across the ocean, in the depths of the Mediterranean, lies the so-called Baalbek stones in Lebanon. The Temple of Jupiter stands on a foundation of megaliths so massive that even today's largest cranes would struggle to move them. One stone, known as the Stone of the Pregnant Woman, weighs over 1,000 tons. Even more astonishing, an even larger stone was discovered nearby, weighing close to 1,650 tons. How were these colossal blocks quarried, transported, and positioned thousands of years ago? The logistics baffle engineers, and the purpose behind such immense stones remains elusive. Another case that stirs the imagination is the Piri Reis map, drawn in 1513 by an Ottoman admiral. What makes this map extraordinary is that it appears to depict the coastlines of South America and Antarctica with remarkable accuracy, centuries before they were officially charted. Antarctica's outline, in particular, seems to match its coast without ice, which would date the original knowledge to over 6,000 years ago. Did ancient sailors possess global navigation skills we barely credit them with, or was this map compiled from sources now lost to us? From maps to tunnels, we move to the Bosnian pyramids. In Visoko, Bosnia, hill-shaped like pyramids have been excavated to reveal massive stone blocks, underground tunnels, and passageways. Some researchers claim they are natural formations, while others insist they are the largest man-made pyramids on Earth, older even than those in Egypt. Samples of the stone show unusual artificial concrete-like qualities, adding fuel to the argument that we may be standing on a forgotten chapter of civilization. In Colombia, the San Agustin Archaeological Park holds dozens of massive statues carved by a culture that left no written record. Some figures appear humanoid, others monstrous, and their symbolism is still undeciphered. Who built them, why they chose these surreal forms, and how they moved the heavy stones through mountainous terrain are questions without answers. And then there are the so-called Roman dodecahedra. These are small, bronze, 12-sided objects with holes of varying sizes on each face, found across Europe. Archaeologists have proposed everything from candlestick holders to dice, surveying tools, or knitting instruments. Yet no written source from Rome mentions them, leaving their true function an enduring mystery. Each of these finds is like a fragment from a puzzle where half the pieces are missing. They resist easy explanations, and the more we look, the more we realize that human history may be far stranger, far older, and far more advanced in places than we've ever been taught. Consider the Voynich Manuscript, a book carbon dated to the early 15th century, filled with strange plants that don't exist, bizarre diagrams, and a language no one has ever been able to decode. Cryptographers, linguists, and even AI systems have tried to crack it, yet the text resists all analysis. Was it the work of an eccentric genius, a coded scientific treatise, or knowledge intentionally hidden from us? Every page is like a whisper from a mind we cannot access. Then there is the Cocknow stone in Scotland, a massive slab covered with mysterious petroglyphs, spirals, and cup marks. It's over 5,000 years old and has been called Europe's largest Neolithic art piece. Some researchers think it could be an astronomical map, others claim it might represent spiritual or ritual symbolism. Its complexity has led some to wonder if it was a kind of prehistoric record of the stars, laid out for reasons we still don't understand. Deep in the jungles of Cambodia, Angkor Wat conceals another mystery. Among its intricate carvings, one stands out, a depiction of a stegosaurus, an animal that supposedly went extinct 65 million years before humans walked the earth. Some argue it's merely a stylized rhinoceros or another creature, but the resemblance is uncanny. Did the ancient builders somehow preserve knowledge of creatures we believe they never could have seen? And we cannot ignore the Longyu caves in China, a set of massive, hand-carved underground chambers discovered in the 1990s. These vast caverns, with perfectly smooth walls, ceilings, and intricate markings, were carved out of solid sandstone. The sheer volume of rock that would have had to be removed is staggering, and yet no historical record exists to explain who built them, when, or why. They are so precise and so monumental that they rival modern engineering projects, but they come from a time lost to memory. In the sands of Egypt, the Dendera light carving inside the Hathor temple has puzzled many. It shows what looks strikingly like a giant bulb connected to a snake-like filament, held up by figures, with another object resembling a power source. Mainstream archaeologists say it's purely symbolic mythology, but others see in it a depiction of electrical technology, something that shouldn't exist in ancient hieroglyphs. Then we have the mysterious Ubaid figurines from Mesopotamia, dating back over 7,000 years. These small statues depict humanoid figures with elongated heads and reptilian features, large eyes, scaled skin, even mother and child poses. They don't match any known gods of the period and raise uncomfortable questions. Why did an early culture represent beings that looked nothing like humans? Even the oceans hide enigmas, like the Bimini Road in the Bahamas. Beneath the waves lies a perfectly straight path of giant stone blocks, aligned as if deliberately placed. Some believe it to be a natural formation, others insist it's the remnant of an ancient structure, possibly even linked to legends of Atlantis. What makes it compelling is the precision of its layout and the way the blocks interlock, unlike anything caused by random geological forces. And in the deserts of Saudi Arabia, enormous desert kites have been found, stone structures stretching for kilometers, visible only from above. Their kite-like shape seems to funnel animals into enclosures, suggesting they were massive prehistoric hunting traps. Yet some of these structures are over 9,000 years old, far older than organized farming in the region. How did early peoples organize labor for such vast constructions, and what purpose beyond hunting might they have served? These are discoveries so strange, so far beyond what we expect from ancient civilizations, that they leave even the most skeptical archaeologists with uneasy silence. Let's begin in Siberia with the so-called Siberian cauldrons. Hidden in the remote Valley of Death, travelers have reported giant metallic dome-like structures partially buried in swamps. Local legends claim they were placed there by an ancient people to ward off disasters from the sky. Some explorers describe the metal as unbreakable, smooth, and strangely warm to the touch. While mainstream science has yet to confirm their existence with certainty, the recurring stories and the strange illnesses reported by those who visited the valley keep the mystery alive. From the frozen north, we move to the scorching sands of Iraq, where the ruins of Nineveh yielded the ancient Assyrian king's library. Among its thousands of clay tablets lies a document known as the Enuma Elish, describing a cosmic story of gods descending from the heavens. What unsettles researchers is the level of astronomical detail, planetary alignments, descriptions of orbits, and even knowledge of celestial bodies invisible without telescopes. How did a culture over 3,000 years ago record such precise cosmic information? Now picture the caves of Ecuador, where Father Crespi, a missionary, collected strange metallic plates given to him by locals in the 20th century. These plates showed carvings of animals, symbols, and maps, some depicting continents in ways that challenge accepted history. The so-called Crespi collection contained materials that appeared far older than local cultures should have possessed. Many of the artifacts vanished under mysterious circumstances after Crespi's death, deepening the enigma. Another shocking discovery comes from India's ancient city of Mohenjo-daro. Archaeologists found skeletons lying in the streets, their bodies showing signs of sudden death, as if frozen in a moment of catastrophe. Even stranger, radiation levels in parts of the site are higher than normal, comparable to levels recorded after modern nuclear blasts. Did some kind of unknown ancient disaster strike the city, or are we misinterpreting evidence of something we still cannot explain? In the mountains of Italy lies the ancient site of Monte Diacati, a massive step pyramid platform dating back to around 4000 BC. It bears uncanny resemblance to ziggurats in Mesopotamia and pyramids in Mesoamerica, cultures supposedly separated by oceans in thousands of years. Why do civilizations across the globe, with no known contact, repeatedly build nearly identical monumental structures? Coincidence, or evidence of shared knowledge lost to time? And let's not forget the enigmatic giant Moai statues of Easter Island. These stone heads are iconic, but what shocked researchers was the discovery that many are not just heads, they have full bodies buried underground. Carved from volcanic rock and weighing up to 80 tons, their transportation remains one of archaeology's biggest puzzles. Local legend speaks of the statues walking into place. Some scientists believe wooden sledges or ropes were used, but experiments show how incredibly difficult it would be, even with modern tools. Moving under the sea again, we encounter the ancient city of Dwarka, off the coast of India. Submerged ruins stretch across the seabed, with walls, streets, and artifacts dated to nearly 9,000 years ago. If confirmed, this city predates the oldest known civilizations by millennia. The discovery aligns eerily with stories from Hindu texts describing a magnificent city of the gods that was swallowed by the ocean. And finally, let's return to the American Midwest, where in the late 1800s workers digging in Illinois uncovered the so-called Cahokia Mounds, an enormous prehistoric city larger than London at its height around 1100 AD. Yet this advanced culture left behind no written language, and much about their society remains hidden. Even more mysterious are the burial sites where exotic materials like Gulf Coast shells, Great Lakes copper, and Rocky Mountain obsidian were found, suggesting trade networks spanning thousands of miles long before Europeans set foot on the continent. Each of these findings forces us to question not only the skill of our ancestors but the very timeline of civilization itself. What if human history is not a steady climb from primitive to advanced, but a cycle of rise, loss, and forgotten brilliance buried beneath time? This is AppleKnows and I am Apple, and now we arrive at the point where threads converge. From crystal skulls to sunken cities, from colossal stones to forgotten scripts, each discovery we explored is more than just an artifact, it's a challenge, a reminder that human history is not as simple as the textbooks present it. Every unexplained object, every ruin without a clear origin, every symbol carved into stone thousands of years ago points to one undeniable truth: there are gaps in our past so vast, they cannot be ignored. These finds whisper of civilizations that rose and fell, of knowledge gained and lost, of human ingenuity reaching heights we are only beginning to rediscover. The question is not whether these mysteries exist, we have seen them, touched them, measured them. The question is what they mean. Were our ancestors far more advanced than we think? Or is there an entire chapter of humanity, buried beneath time, that we have yet to uncover? What is certain is this: the earth still holds secrets that defy explanation. And as long as there are stones to lift, caves to enter, and oceans to dive beneath, those secrets will continue to haunt us, daring us to look closer. This has been AppleKnows, and I am Apple. Thank you for walking through the shadows of history with me. Until the next mystery reveals itself, keep questioning, keep searching, because the past is not finished speaking.